All right, everyone, so I have not made an upload in about 3 weeks. That's because I just made a move from Texas all the way to California. But now that we're all settled, I'm super excited to have my first press vehicle here in California, and it's the 2020 Tacoma TRD Pro. Now, this truck is admittedly one of my favorite trucks. I think it is one of the best mid-sized trucks you can buy. Even the sales numbers represent that. I think that this year for 2020, with the Army Green and the Snorkel, it's one of the best looking trucks you can buy in the mid-size segment, especially from the factory. Now, in this review, I'm gonna go over every detail about this truck. We're gonna check out the exterior, interior, take it off-roading, and we're just gonna have a lot of fun. So let's go ahead and jump into it. All right, guys, let's check out the 2020 Tacoma TRD Pro. Now, this truck as is going to be priced right around $49,833. Now, 50 grand is a lot of money for this kind of a truck. I know you guys hate to hear it, especially if you're not a Toyota fan, but this thing's reliable. That's what people are going to pay for. They look at it, they see anywhere from 200 to 300,000 miles, and that's what they pay for. That's what they invest their money in, and they don't bat an eye doing it. So that is why this truck can justify that premium. And for 2020, they added a few changes that I think are very welcomed and make this a little bit more worth that high price point. I think the only truck in this segment more expensive than this is a Colorado ZR2 Bison, and that is arguably better off-road in stock form. Now, this is the Army Green color, which is the special hue for 2020. Each year they have a unique color. So last year they had Voodoo Blue. Year before that they have Cavalry, one of the two, but it was a lighter blue, wasn't as vibrant as the Voodoo Blue from last year. And then you have Army Green this year. This is my favorite color. This is awesome. It looks tough. It looks really good, and it just fits. It just gives it that rugged color to match the off-road capabilities of this truck. Now, coming to the front, here is the noticeable change for 2020. You have a slightly revised grille, and then you're going to have those new full LED headlights. They are going to say TRD Pro, so over to the left it's going to say TRD, over to the right it's going to say Pro. You can see it during the day. At night it's very vibrant, although from afar it does kind of blend in with the headlight a little bit, so unfortunately it's not as visible when it's driving as you would think. Then you have the Rigid Industries LED fog lights located at the bottom, and they're just a good thing to have. So I can only imagine using this on trails at night. It lights up the pathway in front of you so much better than the previous year model's stock lights. Then as you come down, you're going to have a TRD branded skid plate right underneath here. Over to the left, you are going to have a TRD Snorkel, but Toyota doesn't like for us to call it a snorkel. It's technically called a desert air intake. It's not to help with water fording. It doesn't increase the amount of water this truck can take on. It's for desert running. So if you are going through an area that has tons of dust particles blowing up into the air filter or the grill, this is a little bit higher, because if you're driving, all the dust is being kicked up around here. That's all going to go into here, versus the cleaner air up here with less dust particles. Now that is what that is sucking in, because this is actually going to go right into the air filter and just help the engine breathe cleaner, better quality air, therefore making it more reliable when you are doing, you know, dusty, dirty things with your truck. I know that sounded really weird, but either way, you know what I mean. And then coming up to the hood, you are going to have these Trd Pro Graphics, which I quite like. I think they look pretty cool. And then you've got your non-functional vent right up here. So there is that. But if you're a Colorado ZR2 owner, I wouldn't be making fun of this truck just yet, because your vents are fake as well. Now, coming here to the wheels, you are going to have these Wrangler Goodyear tires, and they're decently aggressive. And by decent, I mean like the beginning level of decent. I wouldn't consider this an off-road tire really, but they do surprisingly well off-road, as you guys will see later. And you have these new TRD wheels. These are actually going to be 4 pounds lighter on each corner, and because of that lighter weight, TRD did retune the dampers, the springs on this truck for 2020 compared to 2019 to compensate for less weight and make the truck ride better on the road. You're going to have disc brakes here in the front, but you still have drum brakes in the back, and then you have the 2.5-inch Fox internal bypass shocks. That's what's going to make this thing a true TRD Pro. That's what gives it that off-road prowess that this truck is known for. And you are going to have a 1-inch lift in the front, but you don't have a lift in the back, which gives it kind of like this kind of a look. But I mean, it's still a good looking truck. You wouldn't be able to tell either way. And mine doesn't have steps on it, which you can get as an option, but I quite think it looks better without it. Then moving to the back, I love these graphics here. Once again, they match the front. They say TRD Pro, and it looks really good. It's not too much. It's not tacky. I think it goes just well. And if I didn't mention it on the tires, forgot to tell you guys, it has Kevlar in the tire. So basically what that does is it prevents any rocks from puncturing the tire, makes the tire itself a lot more durable for off-roading. Then coming to the back, you've got your 4x4 stamp right back here, Tacoma stamp in the middle, TRD Pro to the right, Tacoma branded right here with your backup camera, and you can lock the tailgate, although this is pretty low, so anyone could just reach in, grab it out if they wanted, unless you had it covered. Then obviously your auxiliary switches or your auxiliary plugs for your trailer hookup, and you're gonna have your hitch right over here. And then you have this black TRD branded exhaust. So let's go ahead and take a listen to how that sounds. All right, now getting into the bed of the truck, the actual sides and just the surrounds to get into the truck are fairly low. So once again, 6 feet tall, just to give you guys reference of where this is height-wise. The back actually isn't any higher than a normal Tacoma. You only have a 1-inch lift in the front. Not sure why Toyota decided to do that. I think it has to do with the suspension, the leaf spring suspension here in the back. But either way, it keeps this relatively low, so I can reach in, get what I need out, and it's not a huge hassle. Now, this is very well damped, so when you pull this, you guys can see it's got really good damping, unlike the Ford Ranger, which has some of the worst damping when it comes to the tailgate. Now, getting back here, it's a 5-foot bed, so you can fit as much stuff as you could probably fit in a 5-foot bed. If you put a toolbox back here, it would significantly lessen your space, obviously. But with most people owning this kind of a truck, they're not going to be using it for a ton. I mean, you'll throw things back here occasionally, but this is just a fun truck to have to take off-roading. Most people, if you do overlanding, they'll probably have bars going across here, which you do have these little areas here to do that. And then you are going to have a little bit of a storage space right back here. Not sure what you could put in there. I doubt it would keep anything safe from water or things like that. So once again, I'm sure people will get creative on what they can put there. And then you're gonna have this plug right back here. Now, interesting part is that this has a max of 400 watts going through here, only when idling. But once you start actually driving the truck, it drops to 100 watts, guessing because that power is being routed to everywhere else in the truck. At least that's what it says here on the little sticker. But other than that, you have tie down points right down here on the truck. This one comes with an optional mat right here. And that's pretty much going to be it. So let's go ahead and check out the inside of the truck. Okay, so here's your key for the Tacoma TRD Pro. It's very low budget. I mean, it's all plastic. It's going to say Toyota here in the back. And then as you turn it around, you just have your lock, your unlock, and then your panic button. That's pretty much going to be it. And you have a physical key right in here. You push that, your key can come out, and that can help you get into the truck. And that's also going to be to lock your glove box on the inside. Now, this does have keyless access, so you have a little ribbed area here on the door. You put your thumb there. That's going to lock, and it's going to beep to give you an audible sign that it locked. And then when you put your hand behind here, it'll beep twice. That'll let you know that's unlocked. All right, so getting into the Tacoma TRD Pro. Now, first of all, you have a very high step-in height here on this one. Now, this doesn't have the steps or any kind of running boards or anything like that, so you don't have anything to step on to help you get into the truck, and you don't have a grab handle right here. Not that you would need it, especially with me being 6 feet tall, I can just climb in easily. But it is just worth noting you have a very high step-in height, so the floor is right about where like half of my mid-thigh would be. So getting in, you guys can see the floor is very, very high. Here's the bottom of the truck, and here's the floor. And what that means is that your seating position is really interesting. So most trucks, your feet, you can sit like this and your feet go down more. With this one, because of the raised floor, your knees are pushed up more. So it kind of feels more like you're in a sports car than a truck, just because your feet go this way rather than going at like a right angle. So this is my seating position that I already have it set to. My headroom is really good, and now that you have the power adjustable seat for the 2020 year model, you can get a little bit more comfortable, but this is at its lowest setting, so the seat is super close to the floor. Other than that, the door materials are pretty low quality. I mean, it's hard touch plastic. You got some soft plastic here, your door controls, mirror controls, door locks. You're gonna have a few buttons over here for your camera view, your traction control, your rear bed light, and then your automatic lights, and then you have all of your buttons to turn on the power to the back of the bed as well. But let's go ahead and check out the rest of the truck. All right, so your start stop button is gonna be right here. All you have to do is put your foot on the brake, hit that to start. There we go. So starting at the steering wheel, it's a pretty traditional steering wheel, basically the same one you get out of like the Tacoma. It's gonna have some perforated leather coming over here on the sides. Looks really good with some stitching going there. You've got a nice grip up here. Then as you come down, you're gonna have your controls there, back button, and then your menu button right below there. You are going to have your adaptive cruise. You guys can see the buttons for that there. And you're also gonna have a traditional cruise control stalk located behind the steering wheel. If you like that, I personally love it. That's just a really nice thing to have right there. Over to the left, you're gonna have your media, phone commands, different modes, AM, FM, XM, things like that. You do have automatic lights on this truck, so you guys can see that there. And then you're gonna have your fog lights located there. Over to the right, obviously your wipers, you don't have an automatic setting, so you do just have to adjust them yourselves. Then as you come up, you're going to have hard touch plastic located right here. You're gonna have all hard touch plastic on the dash. I do worry about this kind of cracking in the summer because it's really hard. Like, it's got no give to it whatsoever. Even this is pretty hard, but you've got this random like fabric, maybe like faux, I don't know what it is. It's just a softer material, but it's not really a quality material, if that makes sense. Of course, your vents, very simple to use. You just, turn them, shut them to turn them off. And then you're gonna have your new 8-inch touchscreen. So this is updated for 2020. It is gonna have the addition of Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and Amazon Alexa, which is nice because now you can pair your phone, not have to worry about it, and just go about your business. Down here, you have heated seats for both driver and passenger. Hazards, dual zone climate control, so you guys can see that working right there. Then as you come over here, you're gonna have your knob here to control your 2-wheel drive, 4 high and 4 low. Very simple, that's 4 high, push and then turn while you're in neutral to put it into 4 low. Heated mirrors right next to that. And then on the bottom, you're gonna have your blind spot monitor, your exterior power, you're gonna have your parking sensors, you're gonna have a button there to open and close your rear window, USB port, a button to turn on and off the wireless charging pad, and then a 12 volt. And there is your wireless charging pad located right down there. 2 cup holders here. As you come back, you got this nice, super solid feeling shifter. It is gonna have this nice little red accent there with more red stitching going behind there. Throw into reverse, and you've got a pretty low quality backup camera, but you have a backup camera, you have a 360-degree view right over there, and then you are going to have your JBL sound system, if I didn't mention that already. Right behind here, you have another cup holder, and you could arguably use this as a 4th cup holder, but most people probably just throw keys there. At least that's what I've been doing. Traditional handbrake, Armrest is nice. It's not super softly padded, but it does have give to it. It's just like a plastic material. Lift that up, and you've got a good amount of space here. You are going to have one USB, so don't be confused by my 3 USB plugs in here, because 2 of them didn't work and I had to buy like 2 more. It's pretty frustrating. Either way, you do also have a lockable glove box, so it is nice to have a lockable glove box. A lot of people are going away from that, but it's great to keep your things locked up. If someone were to break in, you can still have your precious possessions safe inside of there. Coming up, you have an auto dimming mirror with home link, and then you're gonna have all of your buttons here for your crawl control. You have your different terrain settings right here, and then you're going to have your crawl control right here, and then you can use this to select your speed. Coming back, you're going to have your rear differential lock. You have your lights in here, which aren't going to be LEDs, unfortunately, and then you're gonna have your buttons to open and close your sunroof. Vanity mirrors are nice, but you do not have LED lights. And that's pretty much gonna be it. So let's go ahead and hop in the back and we'll check out the room. All right, so coming to the back of the Toyota Tacoma TRD Pro. Now, you can lift the seats up. I can lift both of them up just by doing that right there, and you guys can see you have some storage pockets here. You can lift that up, and if you lift up both, I mean, it's pretty good size. You can fit like anything you want in here. You can probably fit like a small rifle in here, something like that if you wanted to do that. It's a really good amount of space, and that's one thing I love about trucks, is that they're so versatile. They're so practical when it comes to having a lot of this extra storage space. And then you can even pull this, and then right behind here, you're not gonna have anything on this side, you just have your speaker. But on this side, if I can get over here, if I pull this, you are gonna have storage space right back here, if you guys can see that. So let me go ahead and hop in. There we go. And putting it back down is super easy. So I do have the seat set to my driving position. So getting back here, here's the part that's not very good about the Tacoma. My knees are shoved against the back of this seat, and I can't even really sit up all the way because the floor is so high, the roof is so low. So I feel very scrunched back here. You got my knees digging in here. I've kind of slouched down, and I can't even slouch forward so that I can be more comfortable. So not really a good place to be. You can probably just use it as a shelf, throw things back here, maybe fit smaller people back here, or if the person in front of you was generous enough to scoot forward, that would give you a little bit more space. You don't have any USB ports, you don't have any 12 volts back here. You do have 2 cup holders back here, which is nice, and you've got very large door pockets. But the materials back here are pretty cheap. I mean, just all hard touch. You got this soft rubber material, and that's pretty much the softest thing back here aside from like the seats. And that's pretty much it. You do have a little coat hanger right back here, which is nice if you have dry cleaning or anything you just need to hang up. Obviously your grab handles right here. Your little window back here, which is always nice if you have a dog or anything like that. But other than that, guys, that's gonna be it for the back seat. Let's go ahead and see what's under the hood. Okay, so coming under the hood of the Tacoma TRD Pro. Now, this is the same engine that Toyota's been using in this truck for a while, and for obvious reasons. This company's known for reliability. They've worked on this engine, they've tuned it, they've honed everything they know about the specifics of this engine, which makes it bulletproof, it makes it reliable, it's gone through the test of time, which is the biggest thing with modern engines. There's so many new engines coming out nowadays that it's hard to know whether or not they're reliable, and that is the biggest benefit with this. So this is the naturally aspirated 3.5 liter port and direct injected V6. It makes about 278 horsepower, 265 pound-feet of torque, I believe, and that's going to go through a traditional 4-wheel drive system. So you can have it in too low, or you can have it in too high, too low. Wow, I'm done. So of course you have your 2-wheel drive, you're going to have your 4 high, 4 low, and you're going to control that not through a traditional gear lever like you have on the 4Runner, but it's going to have a knob on the inside, as you guys already saw. But other than that, it's a pretty good system, still 6-speed automatic. You can get this in a manual though if you prefer to shift your own gears. I couldn't possibly imagine shifting my own gears while taking this off-roading. I'm just not capable of doing all of that. It would just seem way too crazy for me. But there are a lot of purists out there who love to have the manual when off-roading, and Toyota still offers you that option. But let's go ahead and get this thing on the road and see how it does. All right, you guys, so driving the Toyota Tacoma off the road first, then we'll go onto the road. But I mean, this interesting back area here, you guys can see there's just lots of rocks and stuff everywhere. Hopefully you can see all this. But it's very bumpy. And believe it or not, this may look like I'm getting thrown around, but I'm not being like thrashed inside of the cabin. It's not comfortable by any means, but it's not harsh, and that is the important part, because when you're doing a lot of this stuff, it can get pretty harsh pretty fast. You can get pretty physically tired within a few minutes of just doing some like decent rough roads or trails or climbing rocks, things like that. And the way these shocks work, the initial hit of like a bump, it's very well damped. It's actually kind of like soft in a way, and then it starts to firm up as it gets further down. So like with this part, it's not bad. It's nice, it's good. And even though I'm being tossed around, you don't hear things like clinking about or anything like that. It's good. And then if you go a little bit faster, this is where it almost could potentially feel like a very light version of a Raptor. And what I mean by that is going quickly on these really rough, unpaved roads, because at that point, it rides smooth, it glides very, very well, and you can go at a pretty good pace, and the truck stays pretty planted. And the fun part is when you're on dirt roads like this with the traction control off, you can have a good amount of fun. Okay, so now I'm gonna throw this into 4 high for now, unless I have to go into 4 low, but we'll see how this does in 4 high. But this is a pretty steep little area, at least from the looks of it. So let's go ahead and move forward here. You can just feel the truck doing all kinds of articulation underneath you. Man, and this is a pretty... Here, I have to show you guys, because videos just never do this kind of stuff justice. I mean, here's me hopping down. I'm 6 feet tall, so the door handle is like right here. I mean, this is pretty insane. So you guys can see it's got a good amount of articulation going on, and yeah, it's a pretty nice little spot here. Let me go ahead and hop back in. Okay, let's buckle back up and move forward. But so far, the truck's doing pretty well. I haven't had to throw it into 4 low. That's the brakes catching me as it's rolling back. And all I see is sky. I wonder if this is gonna bottom out here. Throw on my camera. Looks like I'm still going the right direction. I'm leaning hard to the right, you guys. Slipping, but it's still going. All right, I'm still not in 4 low. I'm gonna keep moving. There we go, there we go. Now the only thing I don't like is the throttle. Oh, that was nice right there. Okay. Yeah, the only thing I'm not a fan of is the throttle, but the truck is getting through here really well. And this is why you would get a Tacoma, because this is very narrow. I couldn't see a Tundra going through here at all. Okay, so now I'm gonna throw it in 4 low, push this, turn, there we go. And then once you're in 4 low, it shows you all of the surround view. It shows you your pitch and roll, things like that, and the camera's always on, which is nice. But I wish it was a higher quality camera because the graininess really doesn't do much for you. It's nice to give you a general idea, but for specific things, there's a lot to be desired from this system. Now, I've got it 4 low. We're gonna turn on the rear locker. I'm gonna hit the terrain and loose rock. This is probably overkill for what I'm about to do, but it's just to show you guys how it can tackle this obstacle with absolute ease when doing this. But coming through here, I got to dip to the left, boom, there it is. And I apologize about this glare here, it's absolutely ridiculous. Here we go. And I've got this area that I'm gonna dip right here, and it's a pretty high angle. I mean, I'm looking pretty high up. Oh, there we go. And it's dipping down, but it's not bottoming out. There we go. I'm gonna keep straight, and there we go. Easy, easy, easy. The things this truck can take on is pretty astounding, really. I mean, this was probably like intermediate at best for what this truck can do, and throw some better tires on this thing and it would have absolutely no problem. All right, so hopping back onto the road, turn traction back on. Now, how does this truck drive on the road? Well, here is a nice area because I'm going uphill, and the truck does okay. You know, this has 278 horsepower, but it actually feels like a lot less. You know, cornering, it doesn't feel as like massive, or it doesn't feel as like roly-poly as you would think. It actually handles itself with a decent amount of poise. And on the road, it's good. You still feel a little bit of that firmness, obviously, because it's a body-on-frame vehicle. You have that, plus you have the more complicated shocks on here. And what it equates to is this. It feels busy, it feels very busy, but if you go over something like a speed bump, or if you go over something that's like a big jar in the road, or like an unexpected just bump in a otherwise smooth road, it doesn't upset the vehicle at all. That's where you're really gonna notice that off-road suspension doing its thing, and that's where you're really gonna appreciate it on road. But other than that, it drives pretty much like a truck. I'm not gonna say that it drives terribly, because if you get a Ford Ranger with the FX off-road package, that thing is stiff. That is a stiff truck, and it's even busier than this. So this is more comfortable than the Ranger, but this isn't nearly as comfortable as like a Colorado ZR2, because those Multimatic DSSV dampers that Chevrolet has are absolute magic. Those things ride like you're on a cloud on and off-road. This is like a good in-between. This isn't as rough as the off-road package on the Ranger, but it's not as just luxurious feeling as the ZR2's suspension. So I feel like it's a good mix. If I had to complain about one thing, I wish that it had more power daily driving. I wish it was maybe geared to where it just takes better advantage of that power. Having the 6-speed, it's got to kick down a few gears, and when you're on the highway like trying to pass, you really got to put into it, especially around here in California where people are driving a little bit faster than normal. But that's really my only complaint about this truck. I love the way it drives. The steering feedback is good. I mean, it's light, it's truck-like, but it has a little bit more firmness to it, has a little bit more resistance to it. With most trucks, you're used to just turning everything with one hand, almost like you're turning a dial, very light steering. And this actually has feedback and a little bit of resistance in the steering wheel, and I quite like that. All right, so to end the video, you guys, I think that my final thoughts on the Tacoma TRD Pro are this. So this truck isn't for everyone. If you like more tech, if you like more space inside your truck, and if you just want something that's a little bit more advanced, then this truck really isn't going to satisfy you. But if you're a truck purist, you like things to be old school, you like things to be mechanical, you love having the option of still being able to get a manual if you want that, then the Tacoma TRD Pro is exactly what you're looking for, especially if you want a from the factory truck. Now, most people are still going to mod these things out if you are planning on actually taking it off-roading, overlanding, things like that. But for the most part, I think this is a solid truck, and that's why Toyota's going to charge you a premium for it. That's why this truck is almost $50,000. But like I said when we were talking under the hood, people look at this, they see 200, 300,000 miles, and they look at it more as an investment. And I think that's what makes this TRD Pro one of the best mid-sized trucks that you can buy today. But thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, be sure to comment below. Let me know. Also, let me know, would you take this over like a Colorado ZR2, a ZR2 Bison? Would you take this over a Ford Ranger Lariat? We don't have the Ranger Raptor here in America, so unfortunately I can't compare it to that. But also be sure to check out my merchandise if you guys want to help support the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next review. Y'all take care. Bye.